Pat McAfee's lost his mind.
That's Mathis. The Colts have the football. That's up. Throws one over the intercepted. Marlon Jackson. Marlon got it. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl.
The rivalry is back on.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of For the Shoe. I am here with Rob and Andy. Trev did not make it today, and Rob just dropped out. Rob will probably be back on in a couple minutes. Well, while he's coming back on, let's go ahead and do our shout-outs before we get into our last week of roster cuts. Our first shout-out is going to go to NFL Longest Yard. This is our 32-team group. So if you like to talk football without the trash talk, go ahead and join NFL Longest Yard. Make sure you follow the rules. All right, and Sports Fanatics, do a shout out to them. That is a sports page that you can go ahead and follow and get news updates, fun polls, different types of challenges, all that types of stuff. And another shout out to DNR Breaks. DNR Breaks is a great room for you to go ahead and win sports memorabilia. They do anything from basketball, football, hockey, baseball. They do college level sports also. I've won a bunch of stuff from them. It's a fun group. It's Matt's definitely on fire. I say it every week. So if you haven't joined over there yet, go ahead and join. And the slots aren't too expensive. They're pretty cheap. Actually, you can get anywhere between $11 for a slot all the way up to about $20, $30 a slot, depending. All right, welcome back, Rob.
Hey, sorry I cut out there for a minute.
Hey, that's all right.
Came back as quick as
I
I could.
As soon as I said, "Hey, I'm here with Rob and Andy," Rob dropped out. So,
Yeah. Internet.
All right. So last week Rob wasn't with us, but he's here this week. Thank God. Welcome back.
Yeah.
DNR Breaks presents For the Shoes roster cuts again. If you're not a part of DNR Breaks and you like to collect sports memorabilia, go ahead over there. So before we get into this week's roster cuts, we're going to go over the last couple weeks and who we've cut, who is still on the edge of being cut by the end of today's episode. And then we'll go through our offensive line, defensive line, and choose which kicker we think stays on our special teams. So the first week of our roster cuts, we did quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers. We cut Chad Kelly, which I believe most Colts fans expect to see happening. We also cut Jonathan Williams and Bruce Anderson III. I don't think is really controversial at all. Tight ends, we're keeping Jack Doyle, Mo Alley, Calix, and Trey Burton, while we're cutting Ian Bunting, Farrod Green, Xavier Grimble, and Matt Lengel. And with wide receivers, we cut Rodney Adams, Ashton Doolin, DeMichael Harris, Malik Henry, Artavis Scott, and Chad Williams. Before we move on, wide receivers is a spot that I want to talk about. Me and Rob were talking about it earlier. I don't think we keep this many wide receivers on our active roster. One more guy is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think Darius Fountain is really the question mark here because he's not. I don't think we're going to cut him, but like, if there's a chance he could end up on the practice squad again, or if he does get hurt, knock on wood, we could cut him. But Marcus Johnson is also on the fringe. We could keep him. We could cut him. So I have us keeping 6 on the active roster. Like I have us T.Y., Harris Campbell, Michael Pittman. I have Darius Fountain staying healthy. If he stays healthy, I think he will make the active roster. Zach Pascal and Desmond Patman. So I think Marcus Johnson, there is potential for him to be cut, even though he has had some solid moments.
I agree. I think with us re-signing Marcus Johnson during the offseason, I think it was more of a competition-based signing because I think it was like another year or something. It wasn't like 2-3 years. It was like a 1-year deal. So what do you think, Andy?
How many years has Marcus Johnson been in the league? Because I feel like he's one of the newer guys.
I think he's been with us for at least 3 years. I think. I mean, we just re-signed him, so I think he's been in for at least 3-4 years, maybe. I don't think we drafted Marcus Johnson. I'm not sure if we did.
I suppose I could look that up.
Yeah, and
He
then
said he was drafted in 2016, so I'd say he'd have 3 NFL years.
yeah,
Yeah, he was. I was going to say if he was younger than that.
He was undrafted. He got signed as an undrafted free agent for the Eagles, and then he came to us the year after.
So with Frank Wright,
he went to Seattle, and then he came to us like a month later. But yeah, he was with the Eagles for at first.
Yeah, and he actually was on their Super Bowl squad, I guess.
Undrafted, so yeah, I think he has potential to be cut, even though he has had some solid moments. There's Ty is obviously not going anywhere. Paris and Michael Pittman, Darius Fountain. There's a lot of potential between those young guys. I'm banking on Desmond Patman making the roster. I don't know for sure, but I would lean towards yes. And Zach Pascal is obviously making the roster. He has too much. He has too many tools.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, what's up, Matt Myers? Hey, so if everybody's watching, Matt Myers, he's in the comment section. He's the runner of DNR break. So go ahead and hit him up. But yeah, I agree. I don't see Zach Pascal going anywhere. T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell, obviously, those three are staying on the active roster. They are our veterans at the moment. And Pittman was our first pick in the draft, so he's not going anywhere. Desmond Patman, I think he's going to sneak his way on the roster. And I think this is Darius Fountain's year that if he is healthy, he's going to make the roster. And Marcus Johnson drops down to our practice squad. And we keep him for a depth type deal, but he won't be on the 53-man roster.
Fair enough.
I'd be okay with that, honestly.
I think Fountain has earned it, man. That guy has been working for years to make this roster.
I think he's going to do it this year. I think he will make the active roster.
One thing that I've been hearing about that I really like hearing about was, I guess, Jacob Eason has met up with Pittman and Patman and kind of started practicing together.
I heard that too.
That, to me, is a really good sign, and it gets me excited about our future with Jacob Eason if he develops, and I'm hoping he does, obviously.
I'm hoping he does too. And there was discussion about him doing really well in virtual training, and I don't know. I personally don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. You know what I'm saying? He went over routes with Michael Pittman. It was virtual. What does that mean to me?
No, they met up. They met up. Pittman and Patman and Eason met up in real life, and and we're running routes. Yeah,
they can do that and still be socially distant.
But the other thing is though, he can make the throws. It's what you want to see when he starts working on them pre-snap reads and his post-snap reads in his pocket, how he maneuvers through the pocket. That's my main concerns with him, and I know Rob's got a lot of concerns with him too, especially with his decision making. It's pretty easy to make a decision when you're running routes,
Eason's not even really on my radar right now. I mean, he's a 2021, 2022 possibly thing. Like, hopefully, if he develops, I mean, I'll be happy in the first place. He's an if in my mind. And right now, I'm not even looking at him. He's not even. He shouldn't be on the field in any point for us this season. In my opinion, we got Phillip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett. They're red. I trust them more than I trust Eason right now. That's for sure.
That's fair enough.
I can't help but think back to the last time we had a quarterback and receiver kind of work out and practice those routes together. I mean, that's why Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison were as prolific as they were, was because they put in that work together. And I think back to that when I hear about Eason working out with the other two rookies, and that's why that's encouraging to me.
So it's good too, but what I would like to hear is Phillip Rivers is working with our rookies or our wide receivers. I mean, he's going to be the one throwing the ball all year.
Yeah,
unless he gets hurt.
Well, now we can start hearing about it because I think they're practicing together again.
When does that start?
I think it started like this past week. Like,
I've heard Philip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett are getting along over on the Zoom meetings. They're starting to gel. You know, I think they're both locker room guys. You know what I mean? I think they would, they could find a relationship pretty easily.
But the thing I like about having both of them is they're two different quarterbacks on the field and off the field, right? Philip Rivers is a trash talker. He's going to lead your guy and he's going to lead your team in an aggressive manner. And then you got Jacoby Brissett, who's more of a conservative type talker. He's and conservative on the field also. So that you got two totally different guys working together. And I think if both of them are on the field working together, I think it's going to be good.
Eason's in a great position as far as his mentorship.
And not even just that. I mean, Philip Rivers is in a good position, to have Jacoby Brissett on the sideline. Jacoby Brissett's going to watch what Rivers is doing. If Rivers throws that interception, Jacoby can tell him why he threw that interception, and then Jacoby Brissett's in a good position to have Philip Rivers, a guy who's been here for a really long time doing it at a high level. So Jacoby Brissett's going to benefit too, whether he stays with us or if he goes somewhere else. Obviously, we would like to see Jacoby stay with us, but if he goes somewhere else, he's going to benefit from having Philip Rivers.
Right. So let's check out our defense. Where are we at with that?
All right. So last week we started with our safeties, corners, and our linebackers. We ended up cutting right off the bat. We cut actually, it wasn't right off the bat. Safeties we spent a lot of time discussing because last week we also felt that there's a high possibility we don't cut anyone because of the fact that with Julian Blackmon being injured right now and seeing what time he comes back or when he comes back, we're going to need some depth, and plus special teams comes into play with safeties. But we chalked it up as we cut Roland Milligan and Donald Rutledge. And then corners, we cut Picasso Nelson and Jackson Porter. I went ahead and cut Lafayette Pitts, mainly because I started to count how many corners we had, and I really don't see us keeping that many corners. I also could see us cutting another one with Travis Reed. I really don't see us keeping that much depth on the 53-man roster. Some of these guys are going to go to the practice squad, but they're not going to stay on the active roster. And then linebackers, we cut Zaire Franklin, Jordan Glasgow, and Brandon Wellington. I think the only one out of that, those three players we cut that was a definite was Brandon Wellington. I think Glasgow is a hybrid style linebacker who's also played safety in college and high school. And then Zaire Franklin has had a lot of playing time along with Matthew Adams. So
the only thing I wanted to say about the linebackers is I think that Zaire Franklin and Matt Adams, I think they're interchangeable. I think Matt Adams could be the guy that gets cut, and Zaire could be the guy that gets that finds his way onto the roster.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think between Matthew Adams and Zaire Franklin, either one can make the roster. I honestly think either one is going to be a backup to either Darius, Bobby, or Anthony.
Yeah.
These corners, I really don't see us having, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I really don't see us keeping 7. I see us being cutting Travis Reed.
Reed, yes. The other 6 for sure staying, I think. Yeah,
because we play a nickel defense. We're gonna have 3 on the field the majority of the time. It's not very often that we move to a dime look where we have 4, and we definitely don't go to a quarter very often. So if anything, we're going to keep maybe 5, maybe 6, and the 6 are going to be backups to whoever. So obviously, we keep in Isaiah Rogers. He's going to be our special team specialist, I believe. He's going to be our specific Josh. What the heck was his name? Gibbs. Gibbs.
Cribb.
I can't remember his name. Yeah, that guy. And then Xavier Rhodes, Kenny Moore, and I think Rock Yassin is going to be our starters with TJ Carey being up there too.
Yeah, TJ Carey, he's definitely going to see the field a lot. I hope he does. He's a pro.
I agree. I haven't seen much of him. I've watched a little bit, but he's definitely going to see the field, especially being a veteran with a lot of young guys. If you look at our I think Rock Yassin is probably the youngest guy we have outside of Isaiah Rogers being a rookie. So And I can't tell you when we got Marvell Tell. I can't remember.
I think we just drafted him this last year.
Yeah, but he was a senior in college. I'm pretty sure he's older than Rock Yetson at this point, and he's definitely older than Isaiah. I'm pretty sure Marvell Tell is probably about 24.
Yeah. So
I only know when he was drafted because my buddy and I were sitting down to watch the Avengers Endgame movie when they were making the announcements for Day 3 of the 2019 draft.
He was a hell of a safety at USC. I remember watching him at USC. He was a hell of a safety. I didn't think he had corner talent, but he played a hell of a corner.
Yeah. And last year was surprising with a lot of guys because we started taking injuries, and a lot of these guys came in and started playing really well. You had Kari Willis come in, play really well, and then we had Marvell Tell that came in too and played really well. So, Hey Rob, you all right over there? Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on. I think Rob's internet's acting funny today, so. And then Zach over here, let's go ahead and highlight what Zach said. Zach is he's explaining that the training camp, I guess, when they come together to practice together, starts Friday. Zach, is that next Friday?
No, the facility's open Friday. He's saying players can't go until training camp is announced by the league, I guess. Training camp itself is unannounced. The facility's reopening is what happened on Friday. That's what I was thinking of earlier.
Okay. I thought I saw something where they said go ahead and start. That players were allowed to start showing up. I thought they said it like 2 days ago.
Maybe we misinterpreted that.
Yeah, we might have. All right, so
how many guys we have? How many guys left? Where we at with our roster?
Okay, so right now, if we're cutting Marcus Johnson, I cut Lafayette Pitts and Travis Reed. We're down to 66. So we got 66 guys left on the roster, and here comes the meat of it. We got our offensive and defensive lines. Let's see here. Boom. Offensive line. I think the obvious keepers are Anthony Costanzo, obviously Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Braden Smith, and Mark Lewinsky are obvious. What do you think about the rest?
I think LaRaven Clark is obvious at this point because we just re-signed him. I think Jake Eldrenkamp is definitely staying. Danny Pinter will definitely make the roster.
Well, yeah, because isn't Pintner, who we're thinking might step up and take Lewinsky's place if he turns out to be developed a little bit better?
It's possible. He was our 5th round pick this year. Danny Pinter. He was from Ball State. He's got a lot of potential at guard, and he can play. He can play actually all 5 positions. I mean, but he's best suited at guard. So he's got the size. He's a leader. He was the leader of his offensive line at Ball State. I think he's definitely going to make the team. And also a person of interest is Javon Patterson, who was our 7th round pick last year. He's a big guy. He tore his ACL, I believe, in the preseason, or maybe even before the preseason. But we kept him on the roster, and I think he has potential. We haven't seen anything of him yet, but yeah, Javon Patterson.
So I think Javon Patterson stays mainly because we've seen Ryan Kelly go down a few times, and we've had some of these guards and tackles come in. Maybe not last year, but definitely the year before and the year before that. We've had some of these guards and tackles that we had on the roster come in and play center and not do so hot.
So I guess my question is, if we're looking to shave down the offensive line, how many total linemen are we trying to keep? I'm guessing maybe the 5 starters, obviously, and then at least 1 wave of backups in total. Or
Chris Ballard has said before, he says he likes to keep 10.
I had 8 with one on the practice squad. Luke Rhodes which is we'll get to, is an offensive lineman. So he will play. I guess it's 9 technically. I counted him as a long snapper, but
we have him as a long snapper on the special teams too. Here,
he will count. Luke Rose will count.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think 9 with I had 1 on the practice squad.
All right. So who's going to be our first cut?
I think Andrew Donnell is easy. Chaz Green, Brandon Hittner. I mean, I'll keep going.
Cedric Lang, maybe.
Cedric Lang, Carter O'Donnell,
Travis Vorncall.
Travis Vorncall. Yeah, that's. I mean, bang, bang. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so I got Andrew Donald, Chaz Green, Cedric Lang. Who else? I'm trying to write this down.
Brandon Hittner.
Brandon Hittner.
So
you said Chaz Green, right?
Chaz Green, right?
Yeah, I got Chaz Green.
Cedric Lang.
I got him.
Carter
O'Donnell.
All right.
And Travis Vorncall.
And Travis
That's
Vorncall.
the ones I expect that won't make the team, yeah.
All right. Well, that's easy. These are all guys that we basically haven't seen on the field at all before. So a lot of the guys you want to keep, we've seen. So, I mean, that just makes sense. I mean, that's cut and dry to me.
Yeah. I think it is pretty. I mean, with Javon Patterson. I mean, like there's maybe one surprise guy that might get cut, or maybe we'll bring in another guy before the season starts. You never know, but I mean, as far as the pieces lie right now, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cut and dry.
Well, I mean, for me, it's I gotta have seen something, because I don't trust the unknown at this point. I'm just now getting used to having a good offensive line, and like it's still surreal to me how we are suddenly a top 5 offensive line, even for the past 2 years, when we were hands down, in my opinion, the worst before that, and at best like top 20 maybe.
It's crazy, yeah. And adding Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack and just the development, they're all so young, besides, Costanzo, but he's solid. They're all so young. They're gelling together, they have more time together. It's very cool.
Yeah. My concern is for the future with this offensive line, mainly at left tackle with Anthony Costanzo.
Obviously.
I mean, he was on the edge of retirement this offseason, so he could be on the edge of retirement. Say again?
He still played well. It's not like
no.
I don't think he's a question mark in play wise.
Yeah. No, and I'm not questioning his play wise. I'm questioning his when he retires, are we prepared for him to be replaced?
He signed a 2-year deal. I think we got time. Well, free agency, we got time. Chris Ballard. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That is a very good point. All right, let's move on. All right, let's move on to defensive line. And our viewers, everyone watching, you can go right ahead and comment with any of your thoughts. We've got Ashley and Zach over here who are providing information and some ideas. If anybody's got any thoughts on who you want to see cut or kept, go ahead and speak now or forever hold your peace. But it'll be we'll go back through again. In case we don't get to 53, we're obviously going to have to go back through and see where we missed it, where we think we're going to have to cut some of the fat off. So we're going to go ahead and move on to defensive line. I think this one is pretty tough. I think our definites are DeForest Buckner, Justin Houston, Toure, Lewis, Muhammad.
Day will be at least back up.
Yeah, Danico Autry. So the problem is we have so much depth with so much talent. I wouldn't even know where to begin to cutting some of these guys. Maybe Jerry Green, Chris Williams, Robert Winsor. What do you think, Andy?
Here's my thing about the names you mentioned. I'm starting with Tyquan Lewis here at the very least. Hasn't he been kind of injury riddled?
Right.
I tried to look up the total number of games he played, but he did not play a whole lot of games in 2018, and I can't remember if he played a ton in 2019. He might have, and I'm just not thinking of them or drawing a blank or whatever. But
I know that he's been injured, but I know that they're also very high
So
on Taekwon Lewis.
I have a question. How many total offensive linemen did we just cut?
6.
6. So that puts us at 60. So we need to cut 7. I mean, I don't have us cutting 7. I think that a lot of these are positions are up for grabs. It's hard to cut some of these guys, but I think the only obvious ones would be guys like Chris Williams, maybe.
Yeah,
Jegs Jaggetti. I haven't even heard of that guy. Jegs Jaggetti. The heck are you?
Jaggetti.
Oh man, I didn't even see that on him on there, man. So I know I think it was Chris Williams. I said Jerry Green, Jegs Jaggetti, or whatever his name is, and Robert Winsor. And they're the obvious ones at the moment, to me. Maybe Cameron Klein.
Cameron Klein, definitely. I think Kendall Coleman is probably not going to make the team, even though he's a fan favorite. I had him making the practice squad.
If he makes it, I'd be okay if he's practice squad.
Yeah, I had him making the practice squad. I mean, you keep him on the team if he doesn't make an active roster somewhere else, but we're so damn deep. Altree staying, Banagoo staying, Buckner, obviously. Sheldon Day's making the team, Justin Houston, Muhammad. I think Taekwon Lewis is making the team, Grover Stewart, Teray. I think those guys are obvious.
I think those might be your guys right there. Any name that Rob didn't just mention, maybe we don't really need.
I'm trying to.
In my opinion.
All right, so I got us Jerry Green, Cameron Klein, Jegs Jaggetti, whoever the hell that guy is, Chris Williams, Robert Winsor.
Kendall Coleman.
And are we cutting Kendall Coleman?
I think he's fringe talent. It would be a nice story to see him make it. The Syracuse guy. I see him on the practice squad. I think he'll find a team, an active roster spot elsewhere. I think we're so deep that it's just hard to see it.
Why don't we keep him on at the moment, and then if we have to do any fat trimming, we'll come back and he'll be one of the first guys we take off.
Yeah, I definitely keep him on the practice squad.
Well, yeah, some of these guys are going to be on the practice squad too. I'm pretty sure we're up to 10 men on the practice squad now. And obviously we can talk about that too. Who we think is going to stay on the practice squad out of all the cuts we've made. Zach over here is saying that he thinks we're going to cut. We'll correct him. Taekwon Lewis. He said Taiwan Lewis. I don't think we cut Lewis. I don't think we do, because I've been seeing a lot of reports on Frank being very happy with Taekwon Lewis at the moment. I don't know if everyone else has seen those reports, but I definitely have. I haven't
seen anything from Frank, but I've heard stuff from Chris Ballard and the position coaches. I've been watching all the interviews, and they've been, they're giving this guy a chance. I know he hasn't stayed healthy, but they know he has talent. It's his contract year. If he doesn't stay healthy, it's easy to just move on. I think he does stay.
Yeah, and the thing is that I think he was the one that was pretty high ranked up when it came to like tackles and QB pressures before he even got hurt. I actually like Taekwon Lewis, and I see him keep staying on the roster.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, it's hard when the main detractor is going to be injuries. If that's the number one thing, and it's not talent.
I don't like the words injury prone. I don't like that at all. I know it's a thing, and I hate it. And I hate the saying in the off season. We've said it probably countless times already. If he stays healthy, we've said it, and I hate that saying more than anything. So I don't think injuries should be a factor. I think if you look at what he was able to do before he was hurt, and And then him being healthy now, that's what the Colts are looking at. So if he's playing at a high level during camp and he plays at a high level in the preseason, he's not getting cut. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to take in his previous injuries into whether they cut him this year or not.
Yeah, it's not the time to cut him based on his injuries. They know his injuries. It's not but they believe. I've heard the interviews. I've heard the confidence for Taekwon.
Then he stays.
I think he stays. I think.
I think he stays too. And Zach, I agree. Best ability is availability, but yeah, you can't. I mean, I don't see Chris Ballard wanting to cut him off of him not being available last year. I mean, yeah, they didn't take Malik Hooker's option, mainly probably because Malik Hooker's had health issues, but that's a totally different thing. They didn't have to re-sign Tyquan Lewis this offseason. All they did was they're just not going to cut him, and this is his year to either make or break. Which I'm pretty sure I've read Chris Ballard had said already.
He said that.
Year for him. So
he said that. He told Taekwon, this is your year. This is your make or break year, basically, in so many words.
Yeah. So
there we go.
After saying that, I don't think he gets cut. I think he gets the option. And if he gets hurt again, yeah, he's going to be cut. But it's not going to be this year. It's going to be after the 2020 season. All right.
Yeah,
that
just goes back to trusting Ballard at that point.
Exactly.
I want to talk about Grover Stewart real quick. Like, this guy is underrated. Like, I know we're talking about how great Buckner's going to be, but Grover Stewart has gotten better every year. He's gotten bigger every year too. Like, this guy is a big dude, and he is a very important part of our defensive line. I just want to say that about Grover.
And I felt the same way about Marcus Hunt. The same way. You remember, 2018? Marcus Hunt was on fire that year, man. He may have gotten flagged for jumping too early, but that dude was on point. And then we released him. That kind of broke my heart. But I agree with Grover Stewart, man. That dude he's
a big dude.
He is definitely a big dude. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be sharing the spot with DeForest Buckner, but I don't see him getting cut.
No, I see them two being the starting side by side most of the time. He's the one tech. Grover Stewart's the one tech.
Yeah.
Buckner's the three tech.
Yep, and it's gonna be fun to see that defensive front work, man. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what this defensive front does and how it helps our linebackers and then how it helps our defensive backs. Man, I'm more excited for our defense than I am our offense this year. 100%. Yeah. I'm excited to see Jonathan Taylor. I'm excited to see Michael Pittman. And I'm excited to see a healthy T.Y. I'm not too hyped up about Phillip Rivers, so, it is what it is. We're going to get what we get from him, but I'm so excited for this defense, man. This defense is ready. I think is ready, man.
As top heavy as it is, it's so deep now too. Like, if you look at this defensive line, like, what's the worst case scenario? We bring in Sheldon Day and Al-Qadim Muhammad and Danico Autry, like, get the Kamoko Teray. Like, come on, like, it's
that's
so
what I'm saying.
Like, what are they gonna do?
Even if we had to bring those guys in, those guys have to start because our starters got hurt. Our defense is still last year.
A lot of these guys are all have starter talent. It's just it's so deep.
All of these guys have started at least one game, and they haven't performed horribly. So I think that's why I'm so excited about this defense. Man, I could go on all day about this defense. I'm in love with this defense.
Yeah, the defensive line especially.
Oh yeah, man, and our linebacking core, man. I'm a linebacker at heart. I love our linebacker, Darius Leonard. You got Anthony Walker, Bobby Okereke. I love them three to death. And Matthew Adams is okay. He's not trash. Zaire Franklin's all right. Zaire Franklin and Matthew Adams perform better when they're on the special teams. Sky Moore is the same way, but
yeah,
I could go on and on, man. I really could. Kari Willis, I'm excited to see him start. I'm so excited to see Kari Willis at strong safety.
Yeah, absolutely. He's an animal.
Yep.
He's a problem.
All right, so after we just cut 6 more. We have 1 more player to cut. We're down to
That's going to be our kicker.
54. We have 1 more player to cut. We don't have any more fat to cut off. We've got 1 more
That's going to be either Rodrigo or Chase McLaughlin.
So Luke Rhodes is our long snapper. He's staying. That's what it is. That's why we have him on a special. Luke Rhodes is our long snapper. Rigo is staying. He's for sure our punter. He can play. He can play kicker too. Like honestly, Rigo's just can kick the hell out of a ball.
I'm pretty sure he does our kickoff too.
Yeah, he can kick the hell out of a ball anytime.
Yeah,
every time Rigoberto Sanchez kicks the ball, he kicks it right to the other team, said some stupid Colts fan out there.
Yeah, no, he's a hell of a fucking kicker.
He's a great punter.
If you kick the ball to the other team, that's your job. What are they talking about? I'm just being dumb.
Oh,
No, I mean if a fan says that, that's silly. That's his job.
I'm sure no fan is that stupid.
I mean, I get it. You want them to, pin them deep. You want them to cut that corner, but that coffin corner. But you can't do that all the time. You're not Pat McAfee, man.
And that was big shoes to step in. I was about to say that's big shoes to fill when he came in right after Pat McAfee, and Rigo's done his damn job.
He did a solid job doing it.
Yeah, and that leads me right into Chase McLaughlin. I mean, that dude had to step in for Adam Vinatieri. I don't know what's bigger shoes to fill, Pat McAfee or Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah. So this is the tough question. Who? I don't see us keeping both. You see us keeping all these kickers?
No.
No, we got to get rid of one of them. Who's going to be? Is it going to be McLaughlin or is it going to be Hot Rod?
I think Hot Rod's gone, man.
Yeah.
I think Hot Rod's gone. I know a lot of Georgia fans that are up on Hot Rod, and we got him as an undrafted free agent. But here's the thing, man. Last year, his percentages on field goals weren't too great. I mean, he was okay. But Chase came in last year, and he was making kicks when Adam wasn't making them. Came in midway through the season and just started making kicks for us. He's got experience now. So I really think between Blankenship and between McLaughlin, we are definitely keeping McLaughlin.
I could agree with that. I think personally I want to see what Blankenship has to offer. Although, my reasons are a little bit dumber. I like that last name.
Blankenship? Why do you like the name Blankenship?
He's been the only kicker that I've ever watched in college that caught my attention because of that fucking last name.
Penn State kicker a couple years ago caught my attention, mainly because of how big he was, and he ran some dude over. It was just hilarious. He was like 300-something pound kicker. I don't remember his name. That dude definitely caught my eye.
I think it'll be a true camp battle. I think both these kickers have a chance. I think it'll be a true camp battle. If one of them is like obviously the better kicker, then I can see Hot Rod beating out McLaughlin, but I am leaning towards McLaughlin just because of what he's done for us already.
Just because he's got that resume with us already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, He made, I believe it's 28 out of 33 field goals over the season, over the course of 5 different teams. And he was pretty good for us when he stepped. He was better than Vinatieri. That's for sure. We welcomed McLaughlin after what Vinatieri did to us last season. I don't even say what it did. I don't even say what he did for us. I say what he did to us because we lost multiple games based on end of the game field goals. So
Hey, with this comment, I think all 3 of us might get filled up, but this is Ashley. She just posted up all of his stats. I'm guessing this is Hot Rod.
Yeah.
10th nationally, 3rd in SEC, total points scored, 18th nationally in points per game, 25th in FBS and field goal percentage, connected on 19 of 23 field goals, had made 14 straight field goal attempts before missed from 48 yards. Versus I don't know because it didn't cut through. So
yeah, I think it's a real camp battle. I think either
that's
guy.
I think it's crazy to say that our kickers is going to be the battle to watch in camp.
You know, the funny thing is, where none of us are even considering Vinatieri. Like the Colts haven't like officially parted ways with him. Yeah, he's not signed, but any interview I've watched has said we're gonna discuss that once he heals from this injury he's had recently. We're gonna discuss that down the road. I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, obviously, we're not considering it for obvious reasons, but I'm just saying. The Colts and Vinatieri haven't officially broken up.
I'm ready to move on. I think that's what it is. I'm not the Colts fan to blame Vinatieri on a lot of the losses last year. I'm a guy who says it was completely on the offense and the defense and special teams. Yeah, Adam missed those kicks, but our offense didn't do a good job of putting him in better positions, and our defense didn't do a good job of stopping the other team's offense. So a lot of these losses depend just on Adam Vinatieri, I think, is bullshit. And a lot of the fans need to go ahead and reevaluate.
I can't.
Fair enough, Matt. Yeah.
The closest I'm willing to put any loss on Vinatieri might be that Steelers game, honestly. And even then, it's not 100% on him.
I'm not, man, because look, that was the game Jacoby Brissett went down. Brian Hoyer came in the game, and he played okay. But the thing is that how could our defense not start their backup? I'm pretty sure it was Rudolph. How could you not stop Mason Rudolph? I mean,
look, there was many games where Jacoby was leading us down the field 70% of the way. We could have had a field goal. We could have put them. The difference was like we were playing from like 3 points behind most of the time instead of playing from 3 points ahead. When Vinatieri missed more than two kicks in a game, like early in the game, it changed the whole course of the game. We're starting to throw the ball more, and we know that that wasn't Jacoby's strength last year, especially with the receivers going down. It was Vinatieri missing the kicks early changed the game even more than the couple he missed at the end.
I mean, I get that, but the thing is if you want to be an elite defense, which we consider our defense an elite defense, you have to be able to come on the field after that missed field goal and not drag your feet. You can't be hanging your head and be like, oh, Adam Vinatieri missed that field goal. For one, the dude's 46 years old. He's probably got groin issues just from being 46.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I couldn't kick a field goal without pulling my groin now, and I'm barely 30.
But it does. When it comes to kicking, though, clutch is clutch, man. There is nobody in the history of the game that's more clutch. Who I believe in, who at his age would you believe it? Like that's Kobe right there. You know what I mean? That's Kobe type shit right there. What he's been doing. You know what I mean? That killer mentality. Like, how can you ever deny Vinatieri? Like he is gonna make that damn kick most of the time. I mean,
I agree. I'm just saying
it's hard to let go.
It's just time to move on and go to somebody younger. I mean, we've got 14 years of Vinatieri in a Colts uniform, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's time for him to go ahead and rest up, man. I don't know much about Adam Vinatieri's personal life. So. Put it out there.
Maybe it's time to move on from the Colts, but I don't think it's time for him to hang him up. If he doesn't want to, he can find a team that he could. I guarantee he could revive his career. If there's any 47-year-old that I ever believed in is Adam Vinatieri, he could revive his career. I'm not saying being the best in the league, but I'm saying be top 10 for a different team. Maybe it's time to move on from the Colts.
Yeah.
And I can go with that. I'm just saying I'm ready to move on from Adam Vinatieri, and I'm not saying it's because he missed field goals last year. I'm not saying he was the reason we lost a hell of most of those games. I really don't think it was that, because I can go back at the tape and watch and see where we missed plays offensively or where we missed plays defensively, where Adam Vinatieri wouldn't have been in that situation to either miss that field goal in the first, second, third, or even fourth quarter at the end of the game.
There was two times specifically I remember he missed a kick based on a bad hold. I just want to point that out. I'm not saying I'm not trying to defend him like as if he wasn't subpar, even for any kicker standards. But there was a couple times where he got dicked over.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
no,
one
I
of those
agree.
was
I
actually that
remember.
Pittsburgh game.
I remember that too, and I remember saying, "Look at the hold! Look at the hold! Look at the hold!"
Yeah, I
And
remember you
nobody
saying
wanted
that
to look.
too. Yeah, I remember that.
So, I, I don't think we re-signed him. I don't. He's not, this 90-man roster that we have here has been pulled straight from the Colts website on their 90-man roster. So he's not even up here, and it's not because I don't want to talk about him. It's just because he wasn't there. I literally took this right off the website. So
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing with Adam Vinatieri. I honestly think we're moving on, and I think it showed when we signed Hot Rod.
So, do you think Hot Rod or McLaughlin is going to be the guy for this year?
I'm going McLaughlin.
How about you, Andy?
I would like to see Blankenship make the roster just because he was the one kicker that caught my attention in college. But if it's McLaughlin, I won't be mad either.
Yeah, it's. I want to say McLaughlin, but like, I really will not be surprised if it's Hot Rod either. I think it's a 60-40 situation. I'm going 60% McLaughlin, 40% Rigo. I mean Rodrigo. I think he's got a shot. I think it's going to be a real camp battle. I mean, we paid him a good signing bonus. I think it was like $20,000, which is pretty good for an undrafted kicker. He's not here. He's not here to just like to not compete. I don't think we brought him in just to not compete. I think it's a real competition. But McLaughlin played pretty damn well, and he has experience now. He has experience with our team, familiarity. And so I'm leaning towards him.
Now, here's the thing: is now Jacoby going to be our holder next year?
Sure, why not? No, probably not.
Would it
Probably
not be Rigoberto though?
Yeah, it would always be Rigo, right? It would definitely be Rigo.
Well, did Rigo hold last year?
I'm pretty sure, right? I can't say with certainty, but yeah, I would say yes.
Rigo, Pat did. I know Pat did for Adam.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And maybe that's been the problem with Adam's kicking. He hasn't had Pat holding the ball for a while. So
I haven't seen it. I don't remember a Colts quarterback ever holding. I mean, recently.
Yeah,
not since we had Pat McAfee. I don't think so. I think Pat McAfee's always been holding it.
Yeah, and I think Rigo's been holding it since.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that gets into what he might have that same issue, Vinatieri, if he goes to another team, tries to revive, decides he has more in the tank, tries to go to another team, then he's kind of hitting that reset button again in terms of chemistry with that holder.
You know what's funny?
Yeah,
I'm looking at the specialist list, and I'm thinking to myself, whose job is safer than Luke Rhodes right now? You know, he's been with us for a couple of years now. Yeah, like his job is. You
remember when this room said Matt Overton, Pat McAfee, and Adam Vinatieri? That's what it was. And Matt Overton and Pat McAfee were party animals, and they were partying together all the time.
Yeah. They were.
It's crazy.
Pat McAfee,
I think out of this whole roster cut, we spent most time sitting here talking about special teams.
Funny.
And yeah, I know.
That's funny to
Very
me.
Exciting season for us. Very exciting season for us. Like I don't know if we're going to the Super Bowl, but I very much can see us winning the AFC South. Why not us? Why not?
Why not us?
Hey, I'm going to say we are winning the South. And I'm going to say this is going to be controversy all across NFL fans. I don't think Tennessee even comes in second. I don't. I think Tennessee goes back down to their comfort zone of being third in the division while the Jags are last. I'm sorry, but I look at Houston and I see Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson is one of the better young quarterbacks in the NFL. And I think what Bill O'Brien, what we all think is insane. Probably one of the most craziest moves a football GM or coach, whatever you want to call him anymore, is craziest of trading DeAndre Hopkins. I think he just provided more of a variety instead of having just one guy that Deshaun Watson favors. And I think that's better for Deshaun Watson. It's the same with Matthew Stafford, right? Matthew Stafford had Megatron, and then Megatron retired, and Matthew Stafford ended up having to prove himself without Megatron. And the only difference is Detroit didn't really give Matthew Stafford any weapons. All they did was give him these wide receiver 2s and wide receivers 3s and say, hey, man, let's win some games. And then they give you, at running back, all Detroit has done is give him these slow backup running backs and say, hey, man, here's your RB1. Figure it out, right? And then tight end, who do they have, man? Nobody. Defensively, they haven't really had anybody.
Tight end, they've got that T.J. Hawkinson.
That's right. I think they drafted him last year, and he played really well. But the point is, man, is we all may think Bill O'Brien is crazy for getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins, but I also could see a method to the madness of making Deshaun Watson have to spread the ball more and making defenses have to respect Deshaun Watson without DeAndre Hopkins, even if they barely got anything out of it. And Tennessee, to me, man, I like Tannehill and I like Derrick Henry. And I like Vrabel as a head coach, but man, that team has never been able to put it together. They went to the AFC Championship as 9-7. I don't see the Colts as a 9-7 team.
I'm not going to be blind to Tennessee's potential. I think they could very well win the AFC South. They're the only team I'm worried about. I think that morale was really hurt when the Texans traded Hopkins. Not only on the field is it going to hurt them, just based on the talent that left. I think that they have a new team. Like, they basically have a new offense because they lost Hopkins and they brought in David Johnson. It's weird. So like I don't see them going more than 8-8. I think they will be a threat. They are going to be a threat to us both times we go against them. We shouldn't take them lightly by any stretch of the imagination, because they do have Deshaun Watson and they have Brandon Cooks and they have David Johnson and they have a solid offensive line. I think our defense is better than theirs. I think our coaching is better than theirs. We should win. But they shouldn't be taken lightly. But Tennessee, they're Derrick Henry. I mean, I don't think he will do it what he did last year, but let's not pretend that guy isn't a monster. You know what I mean? They lost Jack Conklin. I think that's huge. So I've taken that into consideration. I don't think they will be as great as they were last year. I don't think Tannehill will be as great as they were last year, but I am not taking them lightly. And I don't think any other team should, because I think their defense is legit.
I think their defense is okay, but
okay.
I mean, I think it's good, but the thing is that it's like offensively, man, you can have a great defense all you want, but Derrick Henry is good, and to me, he's the best running back in the division. But that loss of Coughlin is major. I think teams are going to want to see more out of Tannehill. Tannehill's not going to be able to hand the ball off and have one of the highest QBRs in the NFL playing full 16 games. He never has. I don't think Derrick Henry's going to have a year as last year. If Derrick Henry doesn't have a year as last year, they don't even go 9-7. Because then Tannehill's going to have to pick up the slack. And A.J. Brown is great. I think A.J. Brown is probably now he's up there as one of the best wide receivers in the league. Or not in the league. Let me correct myself. In the division. But it's easy when a quarterback comes in week 7 and nobody knows what he's going to do. You don't know how to scheme against him, even though he's played in Miami. He's on a whole new team. You don't know how to scheme against that guy, right? So, yeah, he had a high QBR, and then he had a running back who was rushing for almost 200 yards a game, and he was throwing for 130 yards a game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, their defense is good, and that does scare me. Their defense scares me, but if you have a defensive battle between us and them, I'm going with us because for one,
Yeah, me too.
we have a better 1-2 punch at running back, and then we have I think we have a better quarterback out of Phillip Rivers than Ryan Tannehill.
I might agree with you on the defensive part, but that's what I wanted to talk about is the offensive part. Let's not forget that we don't know we believe that Rivers will give us a great season because we have a great offensive line, and we believe that our receivers will stay healthy this year. But let's not forget that Phillip Rivers did lead a 5-11 team last year. It was a 5-win team. So I mean, for him to say he's at his age on a new team that over these virtual meetings and the days in the time we're living in right now, that he's definitely going to take us to the playoffs against some of these teams that played together last year. I mean, we have a lot of continuity on defense on the offensive line, but our receivers, they were all decimated last year. We have 2 new receivers now. We have a new quarterback. I mean, granted, he has experience. I believe in him. I think we will win the AFC South, but I am not taking the Texans or the Titans lightly. The Jaguars, they're bitches.
Oh, no, I agree. I'm not taking Tennessee lightly. I'm not, because we could go ahead and split with Tennessee, and Tennessee still be third in the division. You know what I'm saying? And Tennessee has always played well in our division, except when we had Andrew Luck, where for some reason Andrew Luck could not lose against Tennessee. But I want to say, I mean, yeah, Phillip Rivers led a 5-11 team last year, but the year prior he led a 12-4 team. He was 12-4. The Chiefs were also 12-4. Phillip Rivers. The year before went 12-4.
Luck. Oh, okay.
No. Luck has never gone 12-4.
No, he's never did.
No.
Never did. But Phillip Rivers did. Yeah,
but the year before, Phillip Rivers went 12-4.
My money is on us. I mean, when you ask the betting guys and the so-called experts, their money's on the Titans generally, and us second, and then the Titans close third. But I like everything in my heart. I mean, I know I'm a Colts fan, but I think we will win the division. Beyond that is what I'm worried about.
I just love when we go off of experts. You know, I see these experts and they're just saying what they have to say, right? Tennessee went to the AFC Championship, so of course they're going to go with Tennessee. You know, it's simple to pick the team that went the furthest. They don't look at anything in depth. You know what I'm saying? They just like, well, they went to the AFC Championship, so I see them winning the division. And I'm over here. I'm like, yeah, they went to the AFC Championship, but
I mean, you know, the person we haven't mentioned yet, which is I think we like brushed by him real quick because we were going through the defensive line. As always, we've talked about him in depth before, but like DeForest Buckner, he is going to change. He's going to change the entire defense. Like, it's going to change everything.
And I've said that to Tennessee fans, right? Because Tennessee are like, well, we have Derrick Henry, he's going to run all over you. We found the key to stopping your defense, and it was a 13th pick that we sold for it.
Yep, we sold the 13th pick for the run defense. Right.
Even so, Derrick Henry doesn't exactly run all over our defense twice a year.
Whoa! Last year, he only ran all over us once. And
the year before that, he did it 0.
Exactly. Derrick Henry hasn't even had the greatest of games against us. And now we just added DeForest Buckner to our defense. He is literally the counter to Derrick Henry.
We beat the Titans last year. They beat us, but we beat them too. We split it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And they think Derrick Henry's just going to run all over us. But if it's between DeForest Buckner and Derrick Henry, I'm taking DeForest Buckner every time.
Mm-hmm.
The only highlight you ever see of Derrick Henry is that one against Jacksonville, where he ran for 99 yards and stiff-armed the whole goddamn defense. But we ain't Jacksonville.
That's why I'm really upset about. Like, I've always been upset about this whole Rivers over Jacoby thing, because we beat the Titans, we beat the Chiefs with Jacoby. Like, we beat some good teams. We beat the Falcons. We beat some good teams. I mean, the Falcons weren't great last year, but they had talent, man. It was a great game. It was early in the season. We beat Rivers beat us, but that was a hell of a game. I hope Rivers Rivers can be what I believe. I believe that Rivers will be good enough to take us to the AFC South Championship. Beyond that, I have questions because he's lost a little zip. I'm not saying he's throwing noodles like noodle passes like Peyton was, but it's concerning when you have a gunslinger like that. I mean, he's always going to throw the interceptions. He's never going to be that guy that throws. What did Jacoby threw 6 last year? He's never going to be that guy. He's not going to throw. He's going to throw more because he's going to throw more passes, and it's going to be more important. Even with us running with our offensive line and Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor, we're still going to throw. I believe a more volume of passes just because of Phillip Rivers, and we're going to have more importantly, we're going to have a greater yards per pass attempt. Whether it's completed or not, it's going to be a higher yards per pass attempt number for sure. He's going to throw it farther. I don't think you can tell Phillip Rivers not to throw the ball down the field. He's going to push the ball down the field. That's what he does. And a lot of times we're going to see huge touchdowns. We're going to be like, fuck yeah. And a lot of times we're going to see that interception, and we're like, why the fuck did you throw that?
But here's the thing. I mean, from 2012 to 2015, we did the same thing with Andrew Luck. We were like, oh, fuck yeah. 80-yard touchdown, T.Y. Oh, shit, why the fuck did you throw that ball?
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So I'm interested. I believe because our offensive line and our run game, I think he will be a much better play-action quarterback than Jacoby can be. And can be a lot more beneficial to our offense than Jacoby's skill set. So I totally agree with at this point, after mulling it over for months, I totally agree with Rivers over Jacoby in the regular season. When it comes to the postseason, when I know it comes down to run games and defenses and stopping the run and protecting the ball, I like Jacoby better in that situation. But I mean, obviously, you're not going to switch quarterbacks all of a sudden.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not. I agree 100%. I mean, we've all seen it. We've had this issue with Peyton Manning. I would take Peyton Manning in the regular season all day.
Right.
In the postseason, there will forever be question marks.
Right.
I'm pretty sure in the postseason, Peyton Manning threw 6 interceptions in one game. I'm pretty sure that happened. I can't remember which one it was, but I'm pretty sure he did.
6.
That was a high number.
Against the Patriots once.
I know it was a high number. And I just when we make it to the postseason, because I think we're gonna make it to the postseason, right? Phillip Rivers couldn't excel in the AFC West when he was overshadowed by Patrick Mahomes and that elite team over there, which is still the scariest hell to me and provides nightmares, even though we beat them last year. I think Phillip Rivers can excel in the AFC South easily. There's no one that could really compete with him in our division. I love Deshaun Watson, but he doesn't. I don't think he's going to be able to. He's not better than Phillip Rivers was. If we get 2018 Phillip Rivers, it's going to be scary.
I know I'm biased, and I know I've been critical, but I really do believe, at the end of the day, all things considered, I really do believe we are the best. We do have the best chance as far as all 4 teams go on paper. As not even on paper, like when you think about the continuity factors and the veteran factors and just how things could play out, I really do believe that we have the best chance of winning the AFC South. But even if we don't, I believe we still have a good enough team to make the playoffs. Even if there is another team like the Texans or Titans that is neck and neck with us, I still think we can win 9 or 10 games, which should sneak us. As long as we win 10 games, which I think Phillip Rivers is capable of. He's done it several times. He's done it many, many times. I've never worried about Phillip Rivers in the regular season. Last year, I really believe that was an anomaly, him winning 5 games. He definitely that was not. It's not going to happen again. We're going to win. Like if we won 7-9 last year. That is the bare minimum we're going this year. We're definitely going 7-9. So that's
I
Go ahead.
I think a lot of people were asking who's going to have a bigger year, whether it was between let's put it between Ty and Michael Pittman. If I'm going to say who's going to have a bigger year with who's at quarterback, I'm going Michael Pittman. Because of what Robinson said down here, with two receivers who can go up and get it, and Michael Pittman is one of them. Ty is going to be utilized, and Michael Pittman, I think, is going to be the go-to guy for Phillip Rivers, and maybe Desmond Patman too if he makes the roster.
I don't have a lot of expectations for Patman, but if he makes a play here and there, like that'll make that 6th-round pick, worth it. Pittman, he's a pro. I don't think any of us have a lot of doubt that, barring something, freak of nature injury or something like that, I don't think any of us have a doubt that he will develop into our future number 1 receiver and be a dominant. I don't think that's really I think he's one of the most polished guys we've seen since maybe Amari Cooper coming out of college.
And what I like too is that if you look at the 2018 season, since we're talking about Phillip Rivers and wide receivers, Mike Williams, I believe he was a rookie in 2018, and I believe Phillip Rivers targeted that guy more than anybody else, especially in the one game I remember watching. Pretty sure he hit that dude 3 times in the end zone in one game.
I do remember. I think I remember that game too, actually. I can't remember who the opponent was. Might have been the Kansas City game in Kansas City. Maybe
it might have. I know they won that game, but I know
I
Mike
just
Williams,
remember there were 4 guys with the last name Williams on each respective offense. There was 2 for KC and 2 for the Chargers, and I couldn't keep up with any of them.
And on the Chargers, they both were wide receivers, but I know that the one Williams had just one hell of a game. He just kept going on.
I just want to address J.S. Robinson. I do think that Patman will definitely make the roster. That I think we all generally agree that Patman will make the roster.
Yeah.
He's really raw, but like just based on size alone, and you got to really like that. Me and Andy discussed earlier. He's working out with Pittman and Eason. You got to like the fact that he's so dedicated. He's ready to go. He's hungry. He wants to learn. He wants to make the roster. I really like Patman's chances, and I think I think he'll get buried on the depth chart generally because we have a lot. Zach Pascal has to see the field just because of his skill set. He's so useful in so many ways. Pittman obviously has to see the field. Ty obviously has to see the field. We all want to see Paris jump. It's just like I think like Patman will kind of get buried, but he will also see his. It's also he's the only other big dude. Pascal's pretty big, but he's the only other big like general deep threat big guy on the team. So he will get used in some packages, and if he makes some plays, I think that'll make the 6th-round pick worth it. I really like that he's showing ambition and hunger, and he wants to get better.
I think we need to use Patman. If you look at how Stanford used J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, if you watch highlights of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside 2 years ago before he was drafted by Philly, just in Stanford, man, I'm not talking about how Philly uses him because Philly uses him the wrong way, I believe. If you see how they use him, it's that red zone goal line from the 15 and up to the goal line. They used him. And that's where he excelled because he was so big. And he was able to box corners out. And he was able to just get that jump ball in the end zone. I think if we use Patman in that way, I think it will benefit our offense more. Because we could get to the red zone. We can get within the 15 with our run game. But we've never had those big body receivers to go up and get it in the end zone once we're in the red zone. And I think that's where we've lacked for the last 8 to 10 years. I mean, we had Andre Johnson at the tail end of his career, but I think if we use Patman that way, that will help.
Yeah, I think it'll help that we have him young too.
I just really like what Zach Pascal brings to as a wide receiver in the run game. He's the best blocking wide receiver we have on the team, I think. But I don't think that's any I don't think there's any competition in that regard. He blocks the hell out of cornerbacks when it comes to the running game.
Man, I love Zach Pascal. Remember when we did the show where we talked about the most overrated play or most underrated players on both sides of the ball, man? And it was Kenny Moore on defense and then Zach Pascal on offense. I will stick with that forever, man. Zach Pascal, he's needed, man. He's needed in the blocking game.
He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah, and you can trust him. Who would have thought that Zach Pascal would have led our team in receiving last year?
No,
Who would have
not
thought
me.
it would have been him?
Not me.
Not me, man. Not me. And I love Pascal. I love him. That guy, like you said, needs to be used because of his skill sets. When it's blocking, and when it's in those times that you need a big play or need a first down, Pascal's that guy to go to, man.
He's proven to be.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
All right.
We have hit our 53-man roster today, and then we went into a lot of other stuff because we love Colts football. And I'm pretty sure Rob missed being on the show this last week, so he probably just wanted to keep on talking. We missed you, Rob, just so you know.
Yeah, we did.
Man, I had fun today, guys. I'm glad to be back.
Hey, to our viewers, we have a fantasy football league that we're doing. If you guys want to join, hit up Rob if we have spots left open. I don't know who he's all invited so far, but it's for the shoe, so it's a for the shoe football league.
Yeah.
We did a draft last week by mistake. It wasn't supposed to happen. We were supposed to push it back, and then everyone auto drafted. So go ahead, Rob.
Anyway, we messed up the first one, but that won't happen again. I'm looking for just a few more people for our fantasy league for the year. I'm only inviting trusted for the shoe members who will play all year long. All the admins are pretty much invited, so I'm only looking for a few. But if you're interested, then just hit me up and I'll send you the link. You can join up with us.
Yeah, and just make sure you're there for the draft because it's really annoying when people auto draft. I really hate that.
Once I have the league filled, I'm planning on making another a messenger chat for the league itself. So I will let everybody know what a good time. We'll discuss a good time to do the draft.
All right, everybody. So we appreciate everybody coming out. It seems like we had a lot of viewers today and a lot of people that were interactive. So keep on coming out. We'll be back next week with some new content. Obviously with Colts. We talk all Colts. So make sure you come back next week.
Yeah, definitely.
And we have definitely hit our 53-man roster. I was getting a little worried. I thought that maybe we were missing a bunch of people because we were at 66 today. And I was like, holy shit, are we going to be able to cut that many people down? And it looked like we were able to within 3 position groups. So
yeah, we did it.
It was definitely good times. It was a great 3 weeks. It was a good journey. It was definitely more difficult than I think I thought it was going to be. So kudos to Chris Ballard and his staff who were able to do it. So come on out next week. Next week we'll also bring trivia back. All right. So go ahead and share for the shoe. All right. And get some more Colts fans to come on out. Share to all your friends. Bring everybody out. It's a fun time, man. We don't do this and think we're like professional or anything and like we're the smartest people in the room. That's not what we do this for. We do it to bring Colts fans together so we can have great conversation, and
yeah, we just like talking to each other anyway.
Hell yeah. I talk to Rob all goddamn week when he doesn't disappear for 7 days. So, all right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Go Colts.
See you next week. Go Colts.
Pat McAfee's lost his mind.
The Colts have the football. Gets up, throws one over the intercepted.
The rivalry is back on.